Hello, welcome to Brian360, and welcome to my review of the beaches of the Bahamas. If you're like me, living in a northern country like Canada, this is what you think of, planning a vacation to a southern island such as the Bahamas. Beautiful water, fine powdery sand, and the relaxation that you can only find at the beach. The Bahamas actually consists of over 700 islands, but for this video I will focus on two main islands for tourists. New Providence Island, which is the home of the main international airport and the capital city of Nassau, where the cruise ships will visit. And from there is a short bridge trip away to Paradise Island, the home of the famous Atlantis resort, and many huge houses belonging to the rich and famous. I will show you 5 different beaches on New Providence Island and one on Paradise Island. As well, I'll show you the private beach on Pearl Island, which is accessible as a day trip from Nassau. There are so many beaches on New Providence Island alone that there is something for everyone. I will tell you how to get there, what there is to see both in terms of amenities and wildlife, what the water is like, what the sand is like, and my overall impressions. Traveling from west to east on New Providence Island, I will show you Jaws Beach, Caves Beach, Sandyport Beach, Cable Beach, and Junkanoo Beach. Across the bridge from New Providence Island is where you'll find Cabbage Beach on Paradise Island. And finally, we will stop at the Pearl Island Beach, which is accessible by ferry. If you're lucky enough to visit the Bahamas, hopefully this video will serve as a guide to get you to the right beach, or as an appetizer to entice you to visit the Bahamas and the many beautiful beaches this country has to offer. Please take a look at my many other Bahamas videos. Some of them are in the 360 video format, so you can look around and pretend you're at the beach. Please like, subscribe, share, and sign up for notifications. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy my video. Our first stop on the western tip of New Providence Island is Jaws Beach. If you're looking for a quiet beach, this is the beach for you. The reason it's so quiet is that it is far away from the city of Nassau, where the majority of tourists spend their time on this island. Unfortunately, that can make it a bit of a challenge to get to if you're staying in the central or eastern part of the island. If you have a rented car, then it's not a problem. It's about half an hour drive from Nassau. If you want a more scenic but slightly longer drive, maybe about 15 minutes longer, take the road along the north coast. This is an ideal beach for families with young children, as long as you don't need a bathroom for number 2, because there isn't one around. In addition to how quiet it is extremely shallow, and very little in the way of waves, at least the day that we were there. Not a lot in the way of amenities. There were some people selling snacks and drinks, but that's about it. There's ample parking right beside the beach. While the calm and clear water make this beach ideal for snorkeling, there really is not a lot to see as far as wildlife goes if you're close to the shore. If you venture out a little bit further, you will be rewarded with a relatively small patch of coral that is the home to a few anemone, a few schools of fish swimming around, as well as the very impressive peacock flounder or platefish. There are also a few starfish, or sea stars as they're known now, scattered around on the sand. Jaws Beach gets its name from the fact that part of Jaws 3 was filmed here. However, thankfully, there are definitely no killer sharks or any other large creatures on this beach, other than me doing my impression of a beached whale. Jaws Beach is not a very large beach, but if you want a place that's quiet, with beautiful crystal clear water, nice sand, and away from the hustle and bustle of some of the larger beaches where the tourists are, Jaws Beach is the beach for you. Our next stop as we head east along the north coast of New Providence Island is Caves Beach. There are caves across the street, and nowhere is this called Caves Beach on a map or a sign, but that's what I'm going to call it for lack of a better name. It is nowhere near as remote as Jaws Beach, but it's still not that close to Nassau where there would be a lot of tourists. I'm going to speed things up a little bit. There we go. There are some residences and shops in this area, but no real amenities as far as washrooms or places to eat along the beach. Sand is fine and the water is nice and clear. It's certainly more active than Jaws Beach as far as waves. A very nice feature about this beach is the wildlife that you'll see in the water as well as across the street, but I'll get to that in a bit. It seems more relaxing at this speed walking along. Overall, I would say this was my family's favorite beach, given that we visited it 3 times in the 2 weeks we were in the Bahamas. The house we rented was a short distance from here, so that made it nice and convenient. Parking is right beside the beach, and it was never busy the 3 times that we were there. A combination of a nice beach and snorkeling made this our favorite. There were lots of families here, including a huge barbecue get-together that made me wish I was part of a Bahamian family. The beach is large enough that, well, if you didn't want to be part of the Bahamian family, you could come down to this end and you didn't even hear them. But I still wanted to be part of the celebration. Now, on to the snorkeling. Short distance from shore, you'll find some rocks and coral, which means food for wildlife. An invasive species, but nonetheless an exciting find for a guy like me, is this lionfish. You don't want to get too close thanks to those venomous spines on its back, but it is a beauty to admire from afar. Short distance away from the lionfish was this yellow stingray. He let me get in closer than I thought, but he was quick to take off in a hurry. An even more impressive sight was this large Caribbean whip-tailed stingray or chupare stingray. This guy was probably about 3 meters or 9 feet from nose to tail. He looks pretty relaxed and slow, but he could certainly put on the jets when he wanted to get away from me. And now on to the caves, which are right across the street from the beach, and you see the street on the right-hand side. Here is the, maybe not the Game of Thrones Iron Throne, but maybe this is the Conch Throne of the Bahamas. And you can see, if you want to enter the caves, you do so at your own risk. This is a narrow passageway that descends into the bottom part of the cave. You can also access the cave from the top, or view only. I guess if you're really determined, you could crawl through and fall and end in some guano. Anyway, there are bats above me. I didn't notice that until I watched the 360 video, but they are roosting outside. A few of them anyway. So you can see inside, the bats are flying around. It's daytime, but they're still active, which is kind of cool. There's a few flying around there. For the next view, I have cranked up the brightness so you can see something that was kind of fun that happened. Here I am in the inside of the cave after crawling in through the bottom. A bat is about to wing me. Here he comes. Right. Oh, he almost hit me in the face. Good fun.
Jeez. Almost got a bat in the face.
The cool thing about a 360 camera is that it records in every single direction, and here it is from another view. Here's that same bat. Coming in, slow motion, there it is. Oh, 2 for flinching for Brian. A little bit of a slow response there. But that was good fun. A little bit further to the east is Sandyport Beach. This is a small beach located close to a very nice resort, some hotels and restaurants, and some shops nearby. If you're staying in this area, that's good, because the parking is not great, to say the least. This beach is accessible by the jitney bus, so that might be an option for you if you want to come here. There are a few parking spots along the road, but signs say that those spots are for the restaurant nearby. There's a small parking lot across the street. That is supposed to be for the stores and fitness center that are there. So park at your own risk. There is a bar and grill at one end of the beach, but that's it for amenities. Compared to the previous two beaches and other ones that I'll cover, Sandyport Beach was probably my least favorite. The water was the least clear, probably due to the waves churning up the sand and other debris, and there was no wildlife to be seen. The beach was fine, and for me the highlight was the pier at the end of the beach, allowing for a nice all-around view. And speaking of the pier, here it is. There's not much to say really, so I'm just going to shut up and let you enjoy the pier. That is Sandyport Beach. Short drive east of Sandyport Beach is Cable Beach, easily accessible by the jitney bus on West Bay Street, by car with a handful of parking spots, or for us, a 10-minute walk from the house we were renting. This side of the beach that I'm walking on right now is accessible to the public. But when I get a little bit further, thanks to a hotel and a sandals resort, the beach is off limits to the public. Although I have read that all beaches are supposed to be free to the public. The water was clear, there were not a lot of waves, there was nice sand, but not really much in the way of a nice wide beach, given that a lot of this beachfront is taken up by residences and hotels. We visited this beach twice, and it was not busy either time. As far as wildlife goes, there was not a lot to see. However, on our second visit, there was a large number of tiny jellyfish, only a few centimeters or an inch in diameter, that made swimming interesting. My daughter was stung on the arm and shoulder. However, the gentleman in charge of the water sports for the hotel had a spray consisting of something that smelled like vinegar. Maybe it was just vinegar, and that helped to ease the pain. As I'm walking along, I'm getting closer to that blue hotel on the right side, and in the distance there's the white hotel, that's the Sandals Resort. And I guess you could draw a literal line in the sand, but it's probably just a figurative line in the sand at this point, where if you were not a guest of the hotel, then, doing my best Gandalf, "You shall not pass!" The gentleman didn't tell me this time, well, he told me the previous time, so I knew when to turn around. Just to the right of the Blue Hotel is how you access this beach. There's a small parking lot there, and if you were to go down that alley, that brings you to West Bay Street. They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Walking down that alley back to Bay Street will take you to a Subway restaurant and Domino's Pizza. We ordered Domino's Pizza both times we were here. Being on the beach in the Bahamas is awesome. Eating pizza takes it to a new level. Of the 7 beaches featured in this video, Junkanoo Beach is the only one that we did not visit, as far as throwing on our bathing suits and playing around in the water. Junkanoo Beach is part of downtown Nassau, and as we were staying west of Nassau, near the center part of New Providence Island, this wasn't really one of the beaches that we would have driven to. However, if you are visiting New Providence Island and Nassau as part of a boat cruise, this is probably one of the beaches you will come to, given its proximity to the port. The word Junkanoo refers to a cultural celebration that showcases the music, dance, and art of the Caribbean, and it's particularly practiced in Jamaica, the Bahamas, and Belize. The very first video I posted on my YouTube channel is Rupert the Guitar Man singing "Don't Let Nobody Stress You Out," and at the very beginning of that song he says, "This isn't reggae, it's Bahamian Junkanoo." And I have since fallen in love with Bahamian Junkanoo music. There's a radio station called Bahamian or Nuttin that plays just Bahamian music. And for a guy who has listened to and still listens to heavy metal all his life, this is a very different type of music for me, but I absolutely love it. In his second book, the lead singer of Judas Priest, Rob Halford, mentions an app called Radio Garden that allows you to listen to radio stations throughout the world. And I've used this app extensively to listen to Bahamian or Nuttin. Sounds like I'm plugging this app. I really have nothing to do with it. Just wanted to share it in case you want to listen to music from around the world. But back to the beach. The other beaches I've shown so far in this video are quiet and not very busy. Junkanoo Beach is the opposite of that. Because it's so close to the port, when the ships come in, the tourists come out, that's when this beach really heats up. There are a lot of restaurants and bars along this beach. There are water sports as well. So it is very different as far as the feel, the energy. It's very different, but it looks like a great time. There is a little bit of shade in this area with these nice trees. If you are hanging out on the beach for the rest of the day and you're not under these trees, you're definitely going to want to get a beach umbrella. The Bahamian sunshine is unforgiving. For most of this vacation, I had on a ridiculous hat, SPF 45 sunscreen, a beach shirt, sunglasses, so I looked like a tourist for sure. But if you're not protected from the sun, you're going to pay for it. We saw many people doing their impressions of red lobsters as they were walking back from Junkanoo Beach to the port at the end of the day. So, take care and protect yourself from the sun. And this ends my public service announcement from Brian360. So off in the distance, as we continue along the beach, there's a small pier that is sticking out. And, well, if you watched this video and you saw the Sandyport Beach pier, well, you'll know that I have to get on this pier as well. And here we are on the pier. You can see this side of the beach is pretty empty. So if you want to walk those extra couple of minutes to get down to this end of the beach, you can have a quiet experience, a less busy, less populated beach. Didn't mention before, but it's about a 10 or 15 minute walk from the port to Junkanoo Beach. So a nice view, nice clear water, nice sand. And this is what Junkanoo Beach looks like the following day before the tourists have arrived. Nice sand, water, sun, everything you could want on a beach trip. If you're on a ship and you only have one day, this is the beach to visit. I don't know why they call this place Cabbage Beach, but there's little wonder why it's in a place called Paradise Island. This beach is as good as it gets. If you love crystal clear water, beautiful sand, and a beach that stretches for miles, this is the place to be. Located a short bridge trip from downtown Nassau, where the cruise ships come in, this beach is not within walking distance, but it's definitely within a short cab ride. If swimming or sitting and relaxing on the beach are not your thing, This is also the place to be because there are parasailing, skidoos, and that crazy thing where you go in some kind of inflatable device and a guy drives a boat at light speed and you hold on for dear life. Those things are available as well. Paradise Island is where you will find the famous Atlantis Resort. If I were to walk for another 5 minutes, their beach from Atlantis joins up with this beach. It's just one long, continuous, beautiful beach. There's a hotel up ahead and to the left. Several hotels on Paradise Island. This is a beautiful place to stay. When we were there were no options for eating on the beach. However, if you were to leave the beach, there are some nice restaurants that are a short walk away. Given that this beach is just sand and water, with no rocks or coral nearby, there's pretty much nothing to see as far as wildlife. There were a few schools of tiny, tiny minnows, but that is about it. Nothing else really to see. But if the trade-off is that you get a beautiful beach like this, then maybe that's okay. Go do your snorkeling at the Cabbage Beach and you'll see lots of fun things there. If you're driving to Cabbage Beach on your own, it can be a little bit tricky finding the place. As long as you have some navigation program running, then you should be okay. There is a small parking lot across the street. You access the beach through kind of a beaten-up driveway. You're not really sure what you're getting into, but once you get to the beach, you realize that it's worth it. And here is where you find the skidoos. I don't know how much skidoos were, but to go parasailing for 2 people for about 7 or 8 minutes was about $200 US. Just to show you how long this beach is, this is where I started at the beginning of this segment, and I've now turned around and I'm walking back past this area. The beach stretches on and on and on. It actually curves around the north coast of the island and runs down the east coast for a little bit. So if it's too busy near the skidoos, near the hotels, there's always this option. Come down here, find your own little spot. It's a beautiful piece of paradise here. And now we get to the final beach that my family visited on our trip to the Bahamas. This is the beach at Pearl Island, which is part of a day trip that leaves from Nassau in the morning and returns later in the afternoon. Like all excursions, it wasn't cheap, but looking back, it certainly was worth it for the memories that we have and the video that I'm showing you now. So the beach is rather small. Like most of the beaches in the Bahamas, the water and sand are beautiful. There are a handful of kayaks and paddle boards available for use as well. Unlike the other beaches, I didn't walk the beach with my camera, but I'm in the water with my dive case on, so apologies for some of the quality with water on the lens, and it's a bit of a mess. Anyway, there I am with my hat, sunglasses, and beach shirt on. Yeah, trying to avoid the sun. Given how narrow Pearl Island is, it kind of feels like the whole island is a beach. But the part that I just showed you is in the center of this view, some light blue near the horizon. That's where the beach is located. There's also another smaller beach, but that was the best one that I showed you. This is a view from the top of the lighthouse located at the end of Pearl Island. Looking across, there's another island. As I mentioned before, there are over 700 islands in the Bahamas. I think they all probably have that beautiful, crystal clear water that you see down below. In addition to the beach, there are other things to do, and for me, the highlight was where I'm looking at right now. Down below is where the snorkeling takes place. I've talked a lot about wildlife in this video, and this was absolutely the highlight as far as wildlife goes. This is what it looked like. The visitors get on their mask, fins, and snorkel. We then follow a few of the guides out to a deeper area from the shore, and then they start tossing food out. And that's why all these fish go crazy. It's a beautiful display of the diversity in wildlife, as far as fish anyway, that you'll see in the Bahamas. You don't see these in the typical beaches, and I'm sure these fish are well accustomed to getting fed a few times a day, and they put on a wonderful show for the tourists. I have just shown you 7 beaches on only 3 islands of the Bahamas. New Providence Island, Paradise Island, and Pearl Island were all spectacular. However, there are many other places to visit in the Bahamas, and from the photos and videos I've seen, they are as stunning or even more than the beaches in this video. I've been to many islands in the Caribbean, and the beaches of the Bahamas are some of the best I have seen. And yes, I have even been to Grace Bay and Turks and Caicos, which seems to always win the best beach of the year. I wanted to mention a website that was incredibly useful as a tourist, and that is beachsearcher.com. This website features beaches from all over the world and gives ratings and much more information than I have given you in this video. I'll put a link to it in the description. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please check out my other videos on my channel, and please like and subscribe to help support this channel. And in closing, if you liked what you saw in this video, go visit the Bahamas and see the real thing. It is amazing. Thank you again.